Hello, hi, happy Tuesday, happy Mardi Gras. Do you celebrate? Fat Tuesday, Pancake Tuesday, Donut Tuesday, whatever they call it in your region, I suppose? Now, I am a heathen, so I don't participate in Lent. I don't give up anything because, I subscribe to a more of a Oscar Wilde like kind of lifestyle where everything in moderation, including moderation. I live a very reasonably balanced life, so I don't do Lent. Also, heathen, but we're entering, a full year of lockdown here, and we have to have something. So I'm making fried shrimp po' boys for dinner, and I'm making a king cake. It's a yeast based cake, so it's on its second proofing right now, and I can't wait to bake it. It's going to smell so good. Like anything to make a day special at this point. Honestly, if I'm being really honest, we do play with Fat Tuesday every year. We usually do pancakes or donuts, but I thought this year we would do a little more New Orleans-y kind of celebration again, just to break through the monotony of everything. So, how you doing? How is everything? Do you guys live in the regions that are getting slammed by the ice and snow? Like, I had to move the camera this week because there's just snow and ice out there, and it's like this mirror that the sun is hitting is really bright, and it just completely whited out my camera when I had it turned the other way. So we're facing a little away this time so that you can see what's going on. So this week I thought I would talk about being weird. Now, it arose from being on the internet and seeing a meme, like a lot of my videos do. I saw someone talking about being weird and having to take a long time to sort of come to terms with your own weirdness. And it got me thinking. Now, my personal experience, I come from my parents divorced when I was 10, maybe 11. So I was kind of youngish, but my father sort of thought he was hot shit. And my mother kind of was hot shit when she was in high school. She was like superstar jock, like went to state meets and stuff and had all kinds of medals. And I think my mom loves me. There is no doubt in my mind about that. But I think a lot of the time, my mom looked at me as an opportunity to have just a younger version of herself around. And it just turned out not to be true. My mother and I are two very, very different people. And she wanted me to sort of be this reflection for her, especially once I got to high school. She wanted me to be grand. And I wasn't, when I, so the sorry, the point of this video is talking about being weird, but the way that I sort of, I don't broadcast my weird. I have always been a person who prefers to disappear into the crowd. I sort of blend in with the walls. You don't really notice me a whole lot. And that's how pretty much my entire school career went. Up until I went to college, I was invisible. And I was a band geek. I was in some smart classes, but I didn't speak up a lot in class. I did my work. I kept my head down, but I wasn't someone who tried for a lot of attention. And even today, that's a lot of attention makes me very uncomfortable. And, being in rooms where I have to, when we do conventions and stuff, and I have to do readings, or I'm on a panel, or I'm moderating a panel, you have to be on to do that. And then there's a big refractory period after that where I need to sort of recover. It's very hard for me. So when I think of people who were weird in school, I think of my friends. I think of people. There's a gnat. Why are there gnats in here? Oh my God. I think of people who were brave enough to just not give a shit and be who they wanted to be. And those people were always so cool to me. It wasn't the people who ran with the cliques, which was weird because I went to a really small school. Not super small, but my graduating class when I graduated high school had 114 kids in it, which isn't like total backwoods Appalachia small. I mean, I'm from Appalachia, but we weren't that small. But that's a small high school class, right? I mean, there were maybe 500 kids in the entire high school with the 4 grades in there. So there were cliques, but I don't remember there being like supremacy between any sort of groups. And if there was, the teachers enforced that, which was weird. Like the teachers were all about, there were certain teachers that were all about hanging out with only the cheerleaders. There were teachers who were super only about, like, the teachers separated us into cliques more than the students did. For the most part, we all grew up together. I mean, I graduated with people I'd known since kindergarten. And, if they tried to act all big and tough, it was like, I remember the time you peed your pants in 3rd grade. Just stop. So it wasn't like that. But again, I made sure to make myself sort of invisible. But my friends, just, especially my one friend, now I won't name anybody, I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable, but my one friend, she was all about just being weird. She would come to school wearing 2 different shoes. She used to wear watches all up her arm. She would dress a certain way, and that was her thing. That was who she was. And when I was a teenager, this was in the late 90s, I really wanted to be a goth. And there was no way. First of all, my mom would have had a cow, and it totally wasn't worth causing the fights. It totally wasn't worth the constant picking. My mom would have had a cow. Also, I wasn't brave enough. I wasn't brave enough to do something that made a statement. It was easier for me to be invisible. And there was this one girl in my high school who was a goth. We only had a handful. There weren't a whole lot of goths. You started getting more of the alt punk people, different hair colors, weird facial hair, tons of piercings. So she was a true goth, and she was seriously the coolest person I'd ever met. She was so laid back. She was so confident. She took kickboxing classes, and she didn't brag about it. It was just something, she said, I learned. She could do that thing where you lay on your back and you kick your legs out really hard, and you can get into a standing position doing that. And she showed us, and it was like, that's so cool. And she was like, yeah, I learned how to do it in kickboxing class. It took me a lot of time to figure it out, and I'm really proud I got it. And it was like, I want to be you. You're so cool. But so I always wanted to be that, and I was too cowardly. I preferred kind of living in the shadows, like an absolute creep. And I'm still like that. I mean, trust me, I do a lot of lurking, and there's a few reasons. I mean, one of them is because I don't want a lot of attention. I don't want to constantly look like hey, look at me. There are people online who are like that, who inject themselves into every conversation, who just, please pay attention to me. And that's fine for them. Most of these people actually don't really get on my nerves unless they've done it like for the 20th time that day, and it's like, stop tagging me, oh my god. But I get it. Different strokes to make the world go around. I get it. It makes me personally uncomfortable, and the thought of me doing that kind of makes me break out in hives. And I do try not to be judgmental about that. I do. Obviously I need a little more work, but my weirdness comes from, I think, maybe the more you get to know me. Like I mentioned, the goth girl was really chill, really laid back, and just really kind of confident, which is completely the antithesis of me. I'm a little spazzy. Duh. I have no real self-confidence. Self-loathing is actually a big part of my personality. I mean, I laugh, but it's the truth. Self-loathing is the fuel in my engine, which is really weird, but it's kind of just the way I'm built at this point. Again, abusive childhood, things got weird, and my wiring is completely fucked because of it. But it is what it is now. I mean, I'm inching towards 40. I've been living like this for a while. I think I got a handle on it. And I mean, it's one of those things where, you have to accept your weirdness. And I have. I tried for a really long time, and this meme made mention of it, and it made me, this is why I wanted to talk about it. I spent a lot of my 20s, my late teens, and almost all of my 20s trying to, oh God, okay.